You have a lot of passion and deep thought behind this entire sector of rural economy or agriculture. How did this come to life?
I travel South India, Middle India, and a little bit of East India. After a couple of years, I started my own business along with my childhood friend called Srikanth. We are almost have a reach of a lakh villages at this moment. While we say that we are present in 65, 70,000 villages, we cater to 14 to 15 lakh families and 90% of them farmers.
What does money mean to you today?
Today, what matters to me is the kind of impact that I've created. Most of the founders confuse between a problem and a solution. They have a solution wanting to find a problem for it,
Yeah.
rather find a genuine problem.
अगर आप एग्रीकल्चर, रूरल इंडिया और भारत के बारे में जानना चाहते हैं तो ये एपिसोड ज़रूर देखिए. Meet Vamsi Udayagiri, the founder of Hesa Technologies, which is a platform that is built to help rural India villagers and farmers do commerce. In this episode, you will learn how Vamsi and his wife visited 12,000 villages before they started Hesa. What are the learnings that we can receive from farmer community? How Geo has helped rural India and villagers prosper, and how one can really build an agri or a rural commerce startup. Super chilled, super down to earth, very, very humble, and an agri fanatic. Mr. Vamsi Udayagiri, ladies and gentlemen, only on Level Up. All right. So I'm glad to have you here, Vamshi. And I think, as I told you right now, before we started the shoot, so one of the most difficult sectors for me to understand at a personal level, even when I was in stock markets, I used to study almost all the sectors, and that agri used to be one of a very difficult sector for me to understand. Again, with startups, it has been one of the challenging sectors, though we've raised funds for an agri startup also. But this is one of the most difficult sectors for me to understand. And I would love to understand. I'm so happy that I've got none other than you, Vamsi Udayagiri from Hesa, as a guest on Level Up, because I want to understand from you about this sector very much in detail, and that's what we're going to try to cover in this podcast, right?
Sure.
But before that, before we start, how are you doing today? How was your flight to Mumbai, etc.?
Great. First of all, I mean, I'm very happy to be, part of your show. And coincidentally, this is my first podcast I'm, ever recording. So I'm little nervous, but I'll try to do justice to it. I mean, my flight is good. I'm happy. I mean, meeting investors brings me to, Mumbai, and yeah, I think things are good at Hesa.
Yeah, I think many of the founders who are outside Mumbai, what brings them to Mumbai is their
Yeah,
investors.
yeah,
They have to monthly visit them, keep a check, and give
yes.
them updates, etc. So it's good for us. It's a blessing in disguise that we can host founders like you,
No, no, pleasure.
who are building something very valuable from different parts of India. And that brings me to understand more about you, right? I would want to, of course, understand about the farmers, the rural economy, Bharat in particular. But before that, let's try to understand something about yourself. Tell me something about your childhood. Where were you born? Where were you, where did you study, etc. And give me a complete track about what led to HESA.
Uh, Great. So I was born in a village which has 200 houses. This is like 80 kilometers from Vishakhapatnam. It's my native place. It's my mother's native place, actually, called Escota, which is at the foothills of Araku Valley. And my childhood is mostly in a town called Vijayanagaram. It's the educational city of Andhra Pradesh, they say. And my father is a psychology professor, and my mother is a headmistress of a school. So, from typically from a educational family, like always started with. My childhood dream was like to become an IAS. It's like very when I was like very small. Like, I don't know what fascinated me to think like that, but I think quickly, after I'm getting uh, to know about more about myself, then I realized that I think I wanted to get into engineering. Then I wanted to get into management. I was not, fully clear of what I wanted to do in life. In fact, at one point of a time, I thought I'll go to US and settle there. These are all like various thoughts that has come, in my childhood. But education wise, I'm a good student, like, I used to be in top 5 in the class, or in fact, in my school board exams and all. District wise, there used to be rankings, and I used to be in that ranking. So fairly, good academics. But I think I always, like, is a person who always like to get into adventures, always like to, do something which is not normal, or, little crazy things and all. So that was a little background about me. But otherwise, born in a family where I have two sisters, and had a very good bonding with them, and, had childhood friends who are, like, till now, like, they are my buddies. And yeah, so that's mostly about my childhood. Then I studied in till 12th class in Vijayanagaram, and then I studied my engineering in Venkateswara University, Tirupati. Um, and after that, as I said, I wrote GRE, TOEFL. I got good universities, but for some reason, my visa got rejected.
This was US visa.
US visa,
Okay.
study visa, and
This is when you're talking about which year?
we are talking about 99.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then, I thought, okay, let's, be in India only. So I moved to Delhi at that time. My cousin used to work for Bausch and Lomb, and he helped me, get a job in Delhi. And I worked with the company for a couple of years. This is into ERP planning, supply chain, and all. So I think I got really fascinated with the subject of supply chain, and after a couple of years, I started my own business along with my childhood friend called Srikant. So we both ran this company for 4 years, and then I sold this company. We were doing like 70-75 lakhs in a year top line at that
Okay.
time, 2004. We sold this company for 1.6 crore. It's a good 2.5 times we got. And
Service company.
it's a services company. We were doing consulting for companies
Fair
like
enough.
Ray-Ban, Gillette, Pepsi, like that. And I moved to Chennai. Primarily two reasons. One is, I wanted to go closer to my parents. Delhi is a little far. So then I moved to Chennai. I joined a company called Ramco Systems. That was the first ERP, which was on the demand ERP, like, and worked there for a couple of years. Then worked for another company called Intercoms. So overall, 10 years, out of which 5 years, am on my own, and 5 years in job, but working in supply chain, aftermarket supply chain. So that has given me a good understanding of supply chain. And me coming from rural, I wouldn't say I was, like, really grown up in rural, but I always had that grassroots connection. Whenever holidays used to come, in fact, every Saturday, Sunday, I used to go to my village.
Still you go?
I still go, yeah.
Acha.
And yeah, I mean, I always, rural fascinates me.
So, was life difficult? How was life for you that time? Even when
See,
your parents were good, into
yeah, see,
education and all.
whenever you are in, until unless you are living in village, see, you go for a day, you come back, you probably may not experience it fully. But the moment you are living in, rural, the challenges are, like, one, now that the aspiration goals have increased, but I'm talking about 25, 30 years back, like, where, people want, various services or products, and most of them, 90% of them, come from a farming community. So they have agri input requirements, they have cattle feed requirements. Other than this, they have to run their house, for which they need groceries, FMCG products, or services like insurance, loans, bill payments, and all this stuff. So it's very tough, because all these products and services that they need are not available in the village there where they're living, until unless the village population is like 50,000, 1 lakh. If we're talking about a village of 10,000, 5,000 population, by the way, there are, like, almost 4 lakh villages which fall under 10,000
10,000.
population.
Oh, wow.
So they actually face a lot of challenges, because they have to go to a nearby tehsil or a district headquarters, or a town nearby, to get all these things. Like, I used to remember my at least 3-4 days in a week, like, someone from my village used to come to our town, which is like 35 kilometers, or they used to go to Vishakhapatnam, which is like 50-60 kilometers, to buy basic products I'm talking about.
So every three,
So
4 days to refill their homes, they have to
yes, yes,
travel to a
yeah.
nearby tehsil
And
or
also the challenge is like they have something to they have produced, right? The agri produce again, they are depending on the local mandi and the middlemen to actually buy these products and services. So that way, the broken supply chain in rural, have really made these people struggle for what, unlike an urban or a town consumer. Like today, we live in a city where we have hundreds of apps. You click it, and in less than 10 minutes, half an hour, you get everything you want. Or in a town also, like with a population of 2 lakhs, you hardly travel for half kilometer or a kilometer, you get literally what you want. This is not the scenario in rural. So they have to at least like go like 6 7 times in a week, in a month, to all these places to get what they want. And that's the challenge. In fact, today also that's the challenge in rural.
so you
Now
faced this 25 years back also, 30
i've
years back
i've
also.
seen it, but I was not uh, uh, that much clear that I wanted to do at that time, but always
No, but that challenge you and your
yes,
family has faced that.
yes, yes, we have
So
seen it
was
and we have
life
faced it.
difficult for you back then?
Life is difficult, yes. If you are living in rural, there are challenges, yes.
So I've read your post and a few articles that you've written. So there's a lot of uh, passion in what you write and the sector that you are in, right? For most of the founders, you see that the passion is for the product or the service that they're building, or the problem that they're solving, right? But in particular, in your case, is what at least I feel, I might be wrong, but as I feel that you have a lot of passion and deep thought behind this entire sector of rural economy or agriculture, come what, like whichever product or service it could be. It's not just one product or one service, it is the entire sector that you are having this deep passion for.
So, you know, if I have to put it, in a different perspective, when I wanted to venture into rural, uh, the first thing that I did is I packed my bags. Thanks to my wife, who actually really supported me. Otherwise, today Hesa would have not been there. Uh, like I visited almost like 4,000 odd villages for 17 odd months. When I said visit, it's not that going in the morning and coming back. Like on the 17, in the entire 17 months, hardly 4 5 times I came back to my home. Uh, I traveled breadth and length of South India, Middle India, and a little bit of East India, 7 8 states. Just wanting to understand like how the ecosystem is there. This is where I realized that while there are a lot
This
of
is this is when were you doing
this
this?
is 2011 and 12.
Hmm.
So this is when I realized
And you are
that
not working that time anything else.
no, I've
You had
kind of
quit job.
quit and wanting to do something, and that's where I was in crossroads. Like, should I do something in supply chain where I'm good at, and I already have customer base, I know it, and people also know me. And then you have. I wanted to do something in rural. In fact, I had to share something over here. I started a company called Calitera.
Cali Terra.
Calitera, and I that's a supply chain consulting company, and there is a group called Mini Group in Bangalore, which is into heavy heavy equipment, mover and all. I pitched the product. They liked the idea. In fact, they gave me a check. I was coming back with the check. Then I went to Hyderabad. One of my close friends from Delhi have come. So we both were, discussing, and he said, "Okay, you wanted to do something in rural. Why you are, doing Calitera? I know this part of supply chain business." So we were sitting over a cup of a coffee, and then we said, "Okay, I mean, like, let's do one thing." He said, "I'm here for a week, so let's." We both have decided that let's go rural and understand.
Pick
Uh,
up your bag, take a
Ye-
car, and leave.
Yes, early morning. In fact, we printed the card also. Like we were wanting to name a company. At that time, we were searching for yellow pages, like for a good name. So then we realized, like, okay, we wanted to do something in rural. Yellow pages, yellow. We have seen it, so we clubbed it and kept the name as Rural Yellow. So Rural Yellow is now actually rebranded as Hesa. So that's when
Ah,
in 2012, September 16th to be precise, this Rural Yellow name was born. And we went to a place called Sadashivpet, which is 60 70 kilometers from Hyderabad. we met some, we didn't know where to start. Like, then we said, let's go and meet some farmers. So, and then the farmers were discussing that they came on the third day to sell their cotton and they're not able to get the better rate. And they're thinking like, should we go back to, our village with this cotton or should we sell it? That's the conversation few farmers were having. And we went to them and said that I think we can solve your problem. We don't know how to solve it, but we said we'll solve your problem. And they said, take us to your village. So then we went to their village. Immediately, their village president, some 10, 20, 30 people came in. And then we realized, like, I think this problem, what is there is something which we cannot solve because, it's, cotton, it has uh, a restricted market. There is a restricted buyers, sellers, and there is a process in which this buying selling happens, unlike any other produce. So then we realized like, okay, let's do something like, we will, we said that, okay, there are vegetables that are grown in your village. We will help to, sell those
Market that and
vegetables.
sell
So
it.
then we tied up with couple of, food chains in Hyderabad. We said that, okay, we'll bring you these vegetables. And we were doing that for a week. Then we realized like, I think this is not how you should solve a problem, like, because we were just iterating and we are not able to get the better rate here. The cold chain, I mean the food chain is saying that, okay, we need 30 days of credit. So all these things not working. Then we said, okay, let's while we are going to that village continuously, we went for almost 7 8 days. And whenever I go to that village and whenever I come back from that village, I realize that there are 7 8 youth who were sitting at a tea adda, literally doing nothing. So I said, what? Why you are sitting here? Are you working? Not working? They said, we don't get to, get opportunities because if we have to find a job, we have to go to Hyderabad. We have to stay somewhere. We have to find a job. Sometimes when we go, and mostly these are like, somebody who is a diploma or, an ITI, or somebody maybe like a school dropout guys who can join in a manufacturing unit, as
Hmm.
a helper
Hmm.
or as a technician.
Hmm.
So that
So they are doing. They have studied
they
something.
have studied,
Hmm.
but for them to find a job is a difficult thing.
In
And
that
this,
town, in that village.
yes, this is where we thought that, okay, there is an opportunity. So let's start mobile job alerts program. So first we used to like, collect what are all the jobs that are there in, in a city nearby that. And we used to send notifications to them over their mobile. And we used to charge 29 rupees per month. The idea is like the minimum cost at that time, 2012, to get any basic information is a 1 rupee phone call. So we
Correct.
said, if somebody has to call 30 times a month, they, stupid logic. So why 29 rupees is like, just, random thoughts. But it is the program, the mobile job alerts program ran really good. We gave almost like 3,000 plus jobs, but over a year. But it's a zero revenue model. Like out of 29 rupees, we used to have a local person whom we used to give 20 rupees only, so effectively 9 rupees. And to manage this, we used to have salespeople in the city to find jobs and all. But it's a good model. We have been covered well in local magazines and TV and all. So then we said, okay, this is not working. Then I realized, like,
This is all during 2012 to 2015, 16.
yes, yes. And then whenever we frequently go to villages, at that time we realized that there are heavy power cuts. So
Yeah.
we said solar was just coming, and we thought let's pick solar. So uh, we did a good business. Almost like in 6 7 months, we sold 1 crore worth of solar products. But then we realized that night 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, phone calls are coming saying that my inverter is not working, my product is not working, and all this stuff. So because that's a service oriented business in which we didn't have. So we tried 3 4 other things for 2.5 3 years. We realized that in fact, rather than doubting what went wrong, we were thinking like what went right. Because we could do business, there is something that we are doing good, right?
And you all
So
had not lost money in any business
uh,
per se.
yeah, per se not lost
No,
any
so,
business.
huh.
It's an opportunity loss or
Huh.
time
Yeah.
loss that
It
has
would be a
happened.
very small money that you would have made,
Yes,
but you
yeah,
would have not lost money per se.
yes.
Okay.
So that's when we realized that the way we are taking a product or a service into a village is our differentiation. And second thing is, in every model that we worked, we always used to have a local person whom we call as a village level entrepreneur in our program. So
VLE.
that VLE. So that was uniqueness. In fact, I didn't know that I was building HESA model at that time only. And while
Now in
doing this,
hindsight, you can say that.
yeah, so while doing this and traveled across, so first I traveled for 15, 16 months. Uh, First couple of months, obviously, any wife would actually, would not be happy to, do this. But thanks to, again, to my wife, who was actually not only let me, go, she also joined the cause and she said, let's work together on this, because once she's understood that this guy is a mad guy, so I'll not be able to convince him to not do so. Rather, let's be with him so that I can get to get more time with him.
Yeah.
So that's how this
But
has
she was
happened.
also passionate about this
Yes, yes. Not
equally.
initially, but yes, I think, and she was instrumental in creating and designing programs for women-led initiatives. Like because most of the programs that we work in villages today, in fact, more than 55% of our Hesatis are women Hesatis. Like, that's why
Hesa?
Hesati. Okay, by the way. So Hesa is the brand name,
Yeah.
and a person who is associated with Hesa is called Hesati.
Hey Sathi.
Hesati is like hi friend, companion.
Hmm.
So, and an interesting thing also happened on how Hesa name has come in and all. But
Please share.
me and again my wife, uh, by the way, her name is Hema. So we were sitting in a coffee shop, wanting to when we wanted to rebrand ourselves from rural LO to a new entity, we are looking for a good name, and always the name with 3 to 4 letters, catchy words, so that it's
Short and
easy
quick
to,
to
yeah,
remember. Yeah.
yeah. So we were getting few names, but we were not happy. I have a habit, like when I'm thinking something, I used to write my name, my wife's name, my daughter's name, like my son's name, and somehow realized, like Hema is my wife's name and Sahasra is my daughter's name. So first two letters of each we picked it up, He and Sa, Hesa. And then, okay, name is good. Then we wanted to get some good logic why we wanted to keep it. And in Sanskrit, Hesa means like grandeur, or an excellent. And this is when the Bahubali movie also came in. And whenever there is a,
2015, 16.
yeah, whenever there is a positive impact, or they wanted to show the upwardness of the hero, a background score used to come with Hey Sa, like that. So
Ah, yeah.
then we combined all these three things and said, okay, let's
Deja vu.
rebrand ourselves as Hesa. And honestly, we never looked back after
Hmm.
rebranded ourselves.
Hmm.
So
Got
that's
it.
the story of
Okay.
Hesa.
So please continue again on that farmer part. So you were.
Yeah. So
Huh.
we were, after 2.5, 3 years, we realized that I think what is good that we are doing is the way we are creating an innovative programs. And at that time, I realized, like, okay, there are various products and services that wanting to go to rural India, including what I have built for 2.5 years. And what is lacking, that I realized, is there is no distribution network. And I roughly kind of imagined something like an Indian rail network, Indian postal network. Like, you sitting in anywhere in India, you just go to a railway station. There is a platform, and then there are multiple platforms which are connected through a one network, which is the rail network or the postal network. So why can't there be a network that can lay down for products and services for rural India? That was the core thought I got around 2013, 14, while doing all these things. And at that time, I coined also this as Palle Seva. Palle is village in Telugu and Seva is service. So Palle Seva. But after quickly doing the pilot, I realized that I think the technology is not there at the time. Mobile penetration is not there. Internet is not there. More than anything, I realized that I think I don't have experience. I need to gain experience. So from 2013 2019, I was doing a lot of things, but I'm very clear in my mind that I will do HESA on one single day. So it's very tough for me to hold for that 7 years, because you wanted to do something, but you're not doing that.
Because
You're
you're
holding
not you're
yourself.
not ready.
Yeah, we are not ready for a
Hmm.
couple of reasons. One, market is also not ready.
Hmm.
And I think especially after demonetization, in fact,
Geo.
Geo. I mean, I was just saying it. In fact, I have to give Geo credit for taking internet to that deep rural and with which Hesa is born. And yeah, I think those two reasons. And in fact, we I was very like every 6 months to 8 months, I used to revisit like should we launch Hesa, should we launch Hesa, but only in 2019 mid I realized that I think this is the right time to launch it. So we did pilots in couple of districts of Andhra and Telangana, and we were about to launch big time, and that's when COVID came, 2020 April. In fact, our model started in 2020 April 1st. So we and I think the relevance of our model in COVID became very high because people were struggling to get what they want, especially
Yeah.
farmers were struggling to sell what they have
So again,
produced.
another blessing in disguise.
Yeah. So yes, I think COVID is one of the reasons for which Hesa has really scaled off.
Scaled up.
Like for example, we have 75 village level entrepreneurs who joined in the first month, and more than 62 of them still are with Hesa. So yeah, I think
That's
that's what.
awesome.
Yeah.
What was your what were you doing and what were you feeling during those 6 to 7 years from 2013-14 to 19? Because it's very tough to hold back on something that you want to build, something that you feel that this is the right thing for me, but for some reason it's just not adding up, whether external, internal, whatever it is, right? But and that time it's very difficult. कि यार मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ life में?
Yeah.
It's that kind of a feeling, right? You're,
Yes.
you're dying from inside and you're still doing something which you don't care about, but you have to just survive and live. What are you going through that time?
So again, it's as you said, it's not an easy thing to do it. But one thing always we tried doing is we were building, we were like preparing ourselves for something which is going to come in the future at that time. And we know that I think what we're trying want to build is not something that is easily can be built. So we are again, I just missed that point. Like when I said that we were what was good that was happening is we were taking these products and services in an innovative way to rural, and that's where we focused on, and we started building strength in rural in terms of taking products brands to rural India. We were like running like a services company. So essentially, we ran, rural India till 2019 as a services company.
But this was
Right.
on the sidelines. You were doing a job
No,
also,
no,
or this
it's
was
full.
full
I was
time?
full time. So this
Okay.
7 years is like full time. We
Hmm.
were earning money, losing money. There's so many
And
setbacks that have come in
and
and
meeting
all.
so many villagers
Yes,
before you formally or finally launch Hesa in a
yes,
proper
yeah. So
dedicated manner.
yes, yeah. So we were like building the strength on the ground by understanding rural India more. So like today, whatever the success that we have seen in 4.5 years, there is a 10 year of hard work uh, you know uh, behind this. And like what if people say this is an overnight success, there is a we have 10 years behind this overnight success that has come in.
How many villages have you and your wife visited? Uh,
In the last 10 years,
Whatever, totally since the time you started.
I would have visited not less than 12, 13,000 villages
My
myself.
God. Wow.
Yeah.
Is this some kind of a record or something?
I'm not sure, but
You should check it probably. Maybe a
yeah.
Guinness book record or something.
Okay, I don't know. So, but when I say this, 12,000, 13,000 villages, I think people in that village know me by my name. Like, and yeah, again, whenever I get time, the first thing that I do is to go to any nearby village, like because visiting rural India brings happiness to me. I don't know for what reason. The greenery, the while scenic locations are good, but I would like to spend time in going to a new village. I like making friends. Like in those 17 months I was traveling, like I stayed in many farmers' houses. I stayed in temple priest's house. I was
Wow.
staying in village panchayat president's house, like quickly, because you are going to that village, you have to make somebody friend, you have to get some good food, and then you have to sleep there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I cultivated that habit of making.
How do they trust someone coming from the city or from the outside?
Uh, Definitely, the trust doesn't come on a day one. But having said that, in my experience, what I observed is they give respect. Somebody from a urban who is going to a rural, they give respect. Unlike in an urban where probably somebody comes like we I mean we may not give that kind of a thing, but at least that warmth is there. Like they may not trust you, but they will come with a lot of warmth.
Yeah.
That's what I observed.
Hmm. Got it. Uh, Tell me, how does a farmer or a rural citizen, you visited so many villages, spoken with so many farmers, what does their day to day life look like? A farmer or a rural citizen, where who, like, what do they do on a day to day basis?
So they most of them, they wake up early in the morning. Their work starts around 7 8 o'clock in the morning. They eat before that well, and then they go to the farm, and they come again early, which is like 4 5 p.m. And they sleep again early, like most of the times by the time 8 p.m., like you will find 80% of the village is sleeping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Huh.
I mean, now the new generation, the next generation guys, maybe who are not fully focusing on farming and all, they live in a different way. But most of villages, this is the pattern where their day starts very early and their day also ends very early.
Hmm. And is the new generation, as you pointed out right now, is the new generation going into farming, or they want to go to urban cities or even abroad for that matter?
Yeah. So, unfortunate thing is, I think the current generation doesn't want to get into farming. When I
Why?
say it, it's not that they feel that the income levels that farming or agriculture as a field gives is very less compared to what they can earn. And today, most of the Swiggy delivery boys or the Uber drivers, or especially security guards that you see in urban, are people who
Security guards.
security guards are people who have migrated from rural because they don't get enough opportunities. And with let's say somebody with a 1 2 acre land, his father would have he has seen his father struggling, like because their incomes are like it's not that they earn every single day, right? They earn only 2 seasons, like 3 seasons, once in 3 months, 4 months. And now with a lot of job opportunities that are there, they wanted to migrate. In fact, when I did the job alerts program, after a year I regretted that I was indirectly helping people to migrate from rural. If I were given a chance, I would have stayed in my village. I would have not come Hyderabad. I mean, like, then why would somebody has to migrate from their village? So that's the core thought that has stood in my mind. And that's where in fact today most of our Hesatis, like they are first time micro entrepreneurs. Like they otherwise would have migrated and become a security guard or an Uber driver. So it's like we are giving them opportunities so that they
But is that so? A security guard salary would be higher than what he would have earned as a villager or a farmer if he sticks around in his
if
own village?
see the thing is um, let's say somebody who is earning 15 16,000 in an urban, that's equivalent to like 6 7,000 living in a village. First, they're living in their own comfort of their home food, versus like you have to
Cost
stay
of
at a
living is low.
rented place and food and everything. So if I mean if I earn like that much amount of 5 6,000 in a village, why would I even think of migrating to an urban? But for that, enough opportunities or revenues are not there in the villages other than farming.
So let's take an example, right? If there is a young, boy or a boy, let's assume a boy, who's probably now 20, 18, 19, 20 odd, and he has to choose farming, or he has to go to Mumbai or to Hyderabad to work, to study something and probably work. What will be the difference of his income if he is doing farming? If he's going to start working with his father and produce vegetables or whatever that they are doing, versus if he has to do here.
See again, if
Let's say there is no HESA.
yeah.
Okay, currently there is no HESA. It just has to. There's an option between farming or migrating.
So again, 80% of the people are migrating because they get good opportunities here. And until unless, see, there are two sections of people again. One is really highly educated who gets into a proper
Company,
career.
yeah, career,
Uh,
yeah.
Second is like odd jobs, like you need to get into
Yeah,
those.
I'm more comparing between the odd jobs and the farming one because, of course, if you're good or if you've done some good education, then you would most likely, and it's rightly so that you migrate and shift to a good corporate or a company or whatever, right? But if you're doing an odd job, if you're a security guard or an auto driver, vis-a-vis farming, then what are the income levels typically right now
So again, as I said, somebody who lives in an urban earn anywhere between 15 to 20,000.
as a security guard?
As a security guard or as an
Urban,
ITA technician or a fitter or driver or delivery boy, roughly like what 14, 15,000 to 20,000 rupees, and essentially like he saves like what 2, 3,000 only. But if that same opportunity he gets in village, uh, that would be an ideal. But we don't have that opportunities getting created in villages.
with farming, if he has to do farming, how much he will make? Let's say in urban he comes as a security guard, he's making 20,000, probably saving 5-6,000 at the end of the month after food, rent, whatever, right? If he would have stayed back in village, helped his father in farming, what kind of income he would have made?
Uh, See, if rightly done, he can easily earn more than the saving that he's doing in an urban. I would put it in that way. Like whatever he's saving, in the urban, he can earn more than that. Again, it has to be. It also depends on various factors, like what is the size of the farm his father have or he
Hmm.
has.
Yeah, of
What
course.
are the kind of vegetables that he can grow? So because most, if we go for 2 or 3 seasons, like mostly Andhra, Telangana have 3 seasons, like for example, but most of the India have only 2 seasons. Like it's not the third season time, and mostly people go for those standardized grains or staples, like where you cannot take money every single day. Like you only take after every 3 months or 4 months because the crop takes that much time to grow it. But you get into vegetables, or you get into certain categories like where you can earn like every alternative day. So there are avenues like that. But again, having said that, there are various other factors, like it also depends on the rains, it also depends on various things. And in fact today most of the people in the villages also are not owning an acre, and they're an agricultural laborer as well. That is also changing because previous 10 years back we used to see a lot of agricultural labor living in villages working on farms. Now they are also migrating. But a good part is, like most of the people, current youth, at least in the geographies that I've seen, are not migrating fully. They are actually doing a job in an urban or a nearby town, and they're coming back to their village by the evening. So that's a little best part as compared to fully migrating.
Hmm. If there will be, of course, there's a lot of migration going on, as you said, and if that happens, what will be the stage of Indian farming or Indian agriculture sector? Because today's youth is aspirational. Let's take that for a fact, right? If even if you're born in a village or to a farming parents, farmer parents, right? They are going to be aspirational. They want to experience a Domino's. They want to experience the urban life. They want to experience to travel by Uber, for example. As little, as small as that. It might be very small for us now, but they want to experience that. And if they don't get that in their village, you know, and they start migrating, what will be the status of India's farming
See,
sector?
today more than 70% of our farmers are people who have less than couple of acres. So 2 acres, right? And today, most of the farming that is happening is large scale farming or an institutional farming, which is happening.
When you say institutional means?
So like somebody who is owning 50 acres, 100 acres, like, and, doing farming at a scale, contract farming and those kind
Oh,
of
okay.
things. So that is happening. But a
So that is
major,
more portion of the total farming.
yeah. So the no,
Oh,
no, today if you look at it, more than 70% of
small
the
farmers.
produce is from small farmers
Okay,
only.
got
So
it.
if that second generation, or today whatever the next generation, if they shift or migrate, which is happening, so it's a sad thing to notice. At the same time, we have noticed there are a lot of you know people who are staying back in the villages. Like, I'll give you an example. There is a village like 25 kilometers from Warangal, where we have one of our Hesathi, who is a farmer. He is MSc gold medal, and he was doing job in Hyderabad, and then he is supporting his father in farming, and then he one day he decided that, let me do farming full time, and he does sericulture as of farming, and then he's also helping another 8 to 10 farmers with best practices and all, and there are people like that. So but yeah, this percentage is very small. So having said that, yes, I think most of the small farmers, farmers next generation, they are moving away from
What's the
agriculture.
average age of a farmer in India?
uh, Around 40,
Okay,
40, 45 is the age of current
that's
most.
pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought it would be 50 plus, but
No,
if
no, I
it's
think,
40, then it's pretty
yeah.
good. Okay, fair enough. With the influx of internet, geo, stuffs like that, there's been a lot of positivity or positive impact on the farming community, on rural economy in general. What do you think has been the best, top two or three positives that has come out of this, specifically the internet and geo boom in the rural economy?
The greatest blessing is Hesa happened. Why? Because Hesa, jokes apart. See, the thing is, I think a good part of technology is being used now. Whether you talk about drones, whether you talk about like satellite systems, because for all these things there needs to be an IoT, and for that internet is needed. And today, I mean, like 95 percentage of the villages where I have visited, or our teams are working, there is a good internet that is available. So I think India in that way, in terms of internet infrastructure, uh, or roads connectivity, like it's road connectivity. I think in the last 10 years, I've seen really a lot of good things that
Yeah,
have
amazing
happened.
roads.
So
Yeah, I think
even we are
again,
talking about, I'm not talking about the highways or urban. I'm talking about even
okay,
to
in
rural
inside.
also. Like it's a good connection that has happened.
Hmm.
So answering your question. Uh, these internet devices, uh, or the
IoT
products that I'm
devices.
talking about, have really helped farmers to do that. And second thing is, see today, in fact, rural consumers use more internet than urban
Hmm.
consumers, but they don't transact; they only consume data. When I say it, like they watch YouTube, they watch Instagram, like that,
You cannot
and
monetize them.
they so we're talking about 60-70% of the people who don't have a CIBIL score, who have not done an online transaction. So we wanted to actually bring those next billion into the mainstream commerce, like
Hmm.
if they can transact themselves, and that's where we're doing it
Hmm.
through HESA.
Okay, so we understood about the kind of positives that farmers have also, or the rural citizens have had because of geo and everything. Tell me something that there are a lot of problems which farmers and rural citizens go through, which probably an urban citizen does not realize, or we have never been through those kind of problems, right? There are certain problems 20, 25 years back when you were born and brought up in a village, and there would be certain problems now. How has these problems changed because you visit them even today? In your understanding, what it was back then, which you were going through those problems, or your parents, your family had gone through, and today, if there is again a family out there, what problem is he or she going?
See, earlier, I think one problem remains common, which is the availability of the products and services. Back then, there is a limited knowledge of these products by the consumers or the citizens. Today, at least the awareness is there, thanks to internet, thanks to a lot of these. IPLs, and people watch again. So they are aware. It's at that time, at least awareness was also not there. Now awareness is there. Now the question is availability. Second thing, especially farmers always face tough times in terms of getting good rate for their produce. See, end of the day, how much ever you try to help farmer, end of the day, what, like he has to get a good price for whatever he has produced, right? I think that's the ultimate thing. And the way the ecosystem is built, like from 70 odd 100 odd years, is like there is a middleman system, like where they don't get a better rate. Most of the times, like at least the price from the farmer to the price to the I would say retail, or by the time it reaches customer, it is already like gone two and a half, three times. So actual value farmer is not getting.
Can you give an example as to, let's say, a farmer produces, his cost would be 70 rupees. He sells to a middleman at 100, and the middleman sells to, how does it go? Like, can you
Yeah,
explain
yeah.
that
So
chain with an
yes, let me
example?
take an example of any dal for that example, or resham. So resham, today the farmer sells at 350, 400 rupees, a kilo, and to the local market, and then from the local market it goes
Do
to
they
the.
do they have a cost of produce?
Sorry.
If do they have a cost of produce?
Yes.
What would that be if they are selling at 350 or 4? Let's take 400 for now. Let's keep it one figure. So they sell it to a middleman at 400. What is their cost of produce?
Their cost of produce is, see, mostly their time, other than that, whatever raw material and other stuff, which is like, close to 30-40% of whatever they earn. So around 100, 120 rupees would be the
Their
cost.
cost of raw materials. ठीक है. So cost 100, selling price 400.
400. Now, by the time it goes to the reeling unit, which is the last place where the actually ration gets processed, it's at 800, 850 rupees. So from 350 to 850, there are like 3 to 4 stages, like where it from a middleman to a bigger market to a larger market, and then by the time it actually reaches. Or say, for that example, the dal that you buy for 110 rupees, 140 rupees today, the farmer sells it at what, 30, 35 rupees, and the guy who processes it, who sells at 75, 80 rupees, and then the wholesaler, then the retailers, because the retailer also has to get a good margin, right? So
Retailer gets the best margin.
best margin, yeah.
Ah,
So this is what it
wow.
will be.
So that is like 500 times of what the farmer had sold it to the middleman, what we are actually buying it.
Not 500 times, 5 times, like 30 rupees
Huh, that
is
is
the.
500%.
Yeah,
500%.
500%. Yes,
Sorry, I
yes.
said 500
Yeah,
times. Okay.
yeah, fine.
500%. Yeah. Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
that's what we are trying to solve here, because we cannot eliminate completely the middleman system, because I think that's there in the Indian agricultural ecosystem. But as far as possible, we try to connect farmers to the large buyers. Today, we do around last year we did like what, 600 crore worth of linking agri produce to the market. When I say market, we don't sell it to the end customer. We are not a B2C in that case. Like we buy from a farmer and we sell to
Which brings me
institutions.
to this question about what HESA does.
Okay.
What are you guys building?
See, at Hesa, we are helping the customer to get literally what they want. See, as a family living in village, I have multiple needs. I have to buy soap, I have to buy shampoo, I have to buy atta, I have to buy agri inputs, I have to buy cattle feed, I have to buy insurance, all these things. So we are like a one-stop shop. I don't need to go to 10 different places. And more than anything, I have produced something as a farmer and I wanted to sell that. So we are the only commerce player working in India which is both buy and sell. So as a customer, I am buying something from Hesa, I'm selling something to Hesa. So that's what we are solving, and this is run through a social commerce model. When I say social commerce, it's a village level entrepreneur who's sitting in a village, who has a relationship and trust with the end customer, and through a phygital model. When I say phygital, he's physically sitting in a village and digitally, accessing our platform to solve the problem of the customer. So that's what we are essentially doing. So, uh, in fact, we wanted to, in our teams, when we say it, discuss, we say that when we go to a village, you know, we want that entire village to be, like slowly painted into a Hesa thing, like, it's visualize, like, for example, like, you enter into a village and slowly the entire village, moves to Hesa
Hessified.
kind of a thing. Hesified,
Hessified.
yeah. So that's what we are doing at. So today there are many farmers who are uh, uh, buying agri inputs from us, buying their household needs from us, and we are also helping them to sell their produce. And when we say market linkages, we don't do directly, like, while 60-70% of our market linkages is directly picking from farmer and selling it, we do a lot of value intervention. When I say value intervention, let me take an example. There are 6,000 women in Orissa. Uh, so, as a group of 30 to 50 women, we have helped them set up a cold press unit. So this cold press unit is anywhere from 1.5 lakh to 2.7 lakh, depending on the size and other stuff. So 30, 40 women come together, they buy this cold press unit, they get subsidy. We help them, train on how to use this. And we also help them with the branding of the product. So all these were groundnut farmers, and then we have helped them to set up this unit. Now they are selling the processed, groundnut oil rather than the plain groundnut. So their income level have increased like 2.5 to 3 times. And icing on the cake is all these 6,000 women buy their household needs from us. So that, see the level of stickiness that we have created. Because they buy agri inputs from us, we have helped them with, training and, branding, and also selling their produce, and their household needs they buy from us. So similarly, we have another 3,000 women who we have helped set up floor pulverizers. Then we have, so we do a lot of value interventions. It's not that we just, kind of help to sell the produce. We also do a lot of value intervention.
So is it like a platform or something where a farmer lists his products and produce and the users can just buy it, or is it something, as you said, when you say digitally, so there would be some method or some mechanism of digital and some mechanism of physical, which would be more that those women village entrepreneurs
So let me put it in this way. So this is something called a matchmaking platform. So, right, where there is a buyer who wants to buy certain produce, and there is a seller who is farmer in this case. So yes, we have an option where the farmer can list what the produce that he is going to, sell, and there are parallelly buyers who are posting the requirements on our platform. So system does this matchmaking, and this is all done through by the Hesati. I mean, it's not that the end customer farmer is posting it; the Hesati is posting on behalf of the end
So
customer.
that Hey Sati visits the farmer's home, talks to them that what is your produce? Should I list it on Hesa? And then our users or our consumers from this app can always approach us, and I will get in touch with you to sell that produce. Okay, got it. So here we are eliminating that middleman, which is
Yeah, when I say, I mean, fully you may not eliminate, but yes, most of the cases, yes, we are.
okay. So that farmer gets more income when he is operating through your platform or selling through your platform.
Exactly. Yeah. So he gets a better rate because
What
at
is the
least
difference in the rate? How much it
at
increases by?
least there will be 20-30% increase in his income levels as compared to the market.
Tell me one thing. You have how many villages or how many farmers are in your network who are selling through your platform?
So we are almost have a reach of a lakh villages at this moment. While we say that we are present in 65-70,000 villages, and we cater to 14 to 15 lakh families, and 90% of them farmers. So it would be around 12 to 13 lakh.
So 90%, 12 to 13 lakh farmers are listed on your platform who are selling their produce through you.
And also buying products from us.
Ha.
Yeah.
Okay. And totally in India, how many farmers are there?
You're talking about the count.
Approx.
Akshay. So, if I were to put it in that way,
What I'm trying to get is that what is like how much untapped is the opportunity that is still left? Like you are already
so okay, let me
having
put
on
this way.
board
Let me
12
put
lakh farmers who are selling and buying through your platform. So how much is the still untapped opportunity that is there in India?
around 17, 18 crore farmers are there.
Oh my
And
God.
we have not touched 1% of India also.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. This is, you're still under 1%.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, okay, if I have to give statistics, like people who stay in less than 20,000 population, 92 crore people live. And let's take Indian average of 4 as a family. So 92 divided by 4 is what? Around 18,
Hmm.
18, 20 crore
Not 18,
families.
around
24,
24, 24,
23,
25.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So out of which, if I take at least 70% of them also farmers, we're talking about like 17, 18 crore. That's huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So you're still not even 1%.
Yeah. You have not touched 1% of it.
Okay.
It's a huge potential. I mean, like, uh, that's what every day we when what makes me actually feel happy is like while rarely you find an opportunity where there is money in it and satisfaction in it. And Hesa is one thing that has happened because every day I wake up with a happiness that somebody in a village is getting benefited. Either they're buying a product at less than MRP, or they're selling their produce at a better rate. And in through this process, we are helping a village level entrepreneur or a Hesati to earn some money. So that's the satisfaction and the scale, like that we have seen, uh, reminds me that I think there is really large untapped market still, that can be tapped.
Hmm. Does any of the states that you are present in, that government has recognized this kind of an effort? Because this is a, I mean, a recognition worthy kind of a, like it's not a, as you said, it's a social startup or a social commerce, right? It's,
So yes, we have won a few awards like we won best startup award in by Telangana government where I was felicitated by the then Chief Minister KCR, and then we got best startup from Maharashtra, State Innovation Society. So yeah, and we also work with likes of NABARD, NAM, and all. So, but yes, I think uh, those kind of anyway, I think yeah, these are a couple of awards which I remember.
okay. Tell me, Vamshi, one thing. You've raised around $7 million over the last whatever few years since the time you started HESA, and you must have interacted with multiple investors, right? Uh, I believe this is my understanding that for uh, a normal urban investor or someone, understanding agriculture is little bit different from what they understand in a other kind of a business, which is like either deep tech or ed tech or fintech. थोड़ा ज़्यादा बेटर तरीके से समझ में आ जाता है whereas agriculture you have to put more head into it. It's not that it's very difficult or something, but you have to put more head into it, right? What did these investors see in HESA when they were investing?
So
And what were the kind of red flags also that they saw when they initially were exploring your startup? This I'm
so
talking about the first
yes, yes.
couple of
So I
rounds.
think as a category itself, investors have tough time to understand what we're creating. See, because it's not a pure agri-tech itself. Like we've created a category by itself called rural tech. What we are essentially building is we are taking, technology to rural India in terms of solving their common, commerce issues, which is like I want to buy something or sell something. Agri being the largest contributor, obviously, because it's an agrarian economy. Agri income is more for us, or agri turnover is more for us. But otherwise, today we essentially supply anything that a village, as a family needs in a village. So to understand that this category of enabling commerce, or like how can you do an e-commerce for rural India itself, that to two-way commerce, like we are helping them buy also, we are helping them sell also. So it was like a lot of people didn't understand, and though people understood, they were waiting and watching because this is something which has not evolved. And there are a lot of players who were reaching out to, I wouldn't say real rural, but villages of 50,000, 1 lakh population. Uh, but for them it's all a brick and mortar, like they were going after kirana stores, every kirana store in the village, which is easy to crack, right? Somebody, because the moment you get into a village you find a kirana store, and let's say somebody wants to disrupt you, it's easy to disrupt. But we've kind of created a very strong layer, because you have to really spend time in a village to find who that Hesati is and how this entire model works and all. So that's why we have created an element of protection, or to our business model. But yes, thanks to few investors who have believed in us, who understand this model, and mostly they looked at an agri-tech angle only, and that's how they bet. They bet on us, and I think, yeah, it turned out to be a good thing, because from when we raised our first round, our value is like today is almost 8 to 10 times in two and a half
When did
years.
you raise the first round?
2021, around August is when we raised our funds.
Okay, during the second COVID,
Second phase of
or when it
COVID,
was just
yes.
ending or
Yeah, yeah.
something. All right. Now the valuation is around 8 to 10 times.
Yes, of that.
Amazing,
Yeah,
amazing. And what are the you must have faced multiple rejections also.
yes.
How did you take that?
With definitely a pinch of salt, because see, rejections, in fact, most
Were
of,
there any case studies that also you could give to the investors that okay, matlab, because people investors look at certain other case studies, either globally or in India itself. If some other startup has been successful, raised funds earlier in a similar domain.
yeah, there are companies who have worked it, but see, the uniqueness with which our model is built, you cannot pick one company as a competitor or something, because see, you have urban e-com players who are trying to get into towns, or I wouldn't say real rural, but kind of peri-rural or something like that. Yeah, and then you have sector-specific players, like agri-tech companies, input companies, output companies, and you don't find them in less than 10,000, 20,000 population villages, because let's say if I'm an agri input company, I am needed only 2 times in a year in that village, right? I mean, how will I create that hook in that village? And then there are models who are depending on a village level entrepreneur model. There were 3, 4 companies who have worked on that model, but they couldn't scale, because again, with the kind of range of products and services that you're offering. And see, the biggest challenge in rural today is to build a very strong unit economical model. And until unless you create that, it's very tough. And that's what it is, we have demonstrated to our, investors. While this has come, a lot of people wanting today also, I think investors wanting to wait and watch, because they have not really seen, this sector, or this segment. That's why you don't find, as of now, unicorn in an agri-tech segment. People have touched 1.5, 2 years back, almost close to it, but nobody is able to crack that at this moment. So that's one of the reasons why, because people are still, wait and
I
watch.
think the model in itself is so operationally driven.
Yeah.
It is so you have to be so much on the ground. It is so operationally heavy, manpower heavy. With the as you said, the village level entrepreneurs, VLE or Hey Sathis in your case, there's a lot of all these channels that needs to go. It's not very simple कि आपने app download कर दिया और you start making money or you start transacting. You have to really be behind them,
Yeah,
spread education, spread awareness with these villagers, with the farmers, with the citizens in that village, do gatherings, etc. So it's a lot of time consuming thing to make them, to nurture them, to first reach to them, then to develop a relationship, then to nurture that, and then to make them transact something on your platform.
so, on this note, I'll touch about how operationally our app is used. But before that, now investors understood what the potential
I'm
is,
sure now
and
they would.
someone like an Axel has now dedicated Bharat program. They're running it, and as far as what I've heard, I think they wanted to invest now in startups focusing on Bharat. Somebody like an Axel, if they're focusing, I think investors started looking at Bharat as a segment at this moment. So I'm hoping that good investments will come to
This sector,
this
yeah.
sector. But what we have realized is, like any startup, we also started building an e-commerce app, like you name any e-commerce app, like you have catalogs, you have multiple category products and services. But what we have realized is my Hesathi is calling my field officer and saying, I want to order these products. Or he's texting my field officer saying that, I want these products. Or he sometimes sends an image of a product and say, I want these products.
This much
So,
quantity is required.
yeah. So what have we, kind of realized is, I think rather than trying to change the user habit, why can't we actually build something, which is close to the user? So we built our own AI on top of a WhatsApp, where today our Hesati, which we extended now to end customer also, where they can pick up a voice WhatsApp and send a voice note of whatever they want. Like मेरे को 5 किलो आटा 3 किलो चीनी चाहिए, तो system automatically creates an order. They can text it and system creates an order. So that's how our traction levels have increased, and now customers started liking to order because they don't need to do anything so different from what they are used to, right? So that's one of the biggest change maker for us in terms of like getting so much of deeper penetration.
Hmm. What would you give kind of an advice to a startup founder who is building something in agri space or rural space today?
I would, any startup founder, I would suggest that if you can solve a problem physically, I think you can solve that by digital means. So what I meant was is like, don't try to build something fancy tech and all this. Rather focus on solving the problem.
Hmm.
Second thing is, most of the founders are confused confused between a problem and a solution. They have a solution and wanting to find a problem for it,
Yeah.
rather find a genuine problem which needs to be solved. So I think these are my advices for any founder.
I think both are very valid. The first point, what you said about building something fancy and just, trying to figure out the tech
Yeah,
without understanding the problem, without finding what
yeah.
is the core. Many of the young founders are trying to do this. And a little more experienced founder, this is what I have seen in my experience of working with so many startups. The little more experienced people who have worked in corporates or now wanting to do a startup after getting 10, 15 years of experience, etc., they are making the mistake in the latter point that you said.
Hmm.
They are not
Yes.
understanding the problem, or just trying to figure out कि अच्छा what should I do, etc. So that core they are not being able to catch.
Yeah.
How to position the startup, how to make sure that you are actually solving a genuine problem rather than they are being more obsessed with a solution. So these are the two kinds of audiences that we typically
No,
meet,
no, I
and
think
both the
yeah,
points are very valid.
yeah.
It
See, that's what there are so many models. Like I don't see there is a need for that solution itself, right? But because they've got a fancy idea, because they've got something which is sellable, I cannot. See, today, if you are really not trying to solve a core problem, it will be tough to remain as a solution. And some today or some other day, somebody will come and disrupt you. So we just need to identify what is the core problem and how big a problem can be, right? How big this problem can be, like in terms of an opportunity that creating. If we understand that as a founder, I think you can build.
any problem that you have seen in the recent times, maybe the startups that you're mentoring or you're advising, or that you feel that this is something which can be really large and it's a wonderful problem that he's solving.
I get to see a lot of ideas, or I would say a lot of problems which are yet to be solved. So there are many, but uh, I would pick up an idea once I'm done with Hesa, which I thought that it can be a larger problem to solve than what Hesa is solving, which is
Hmm.
for rural India. But I would keep it as a suspense at this moment because at least it will take 3 to 4 years for me to build that.
Hmm.
But having said that, yes, there are many opportunities or many problems that are still yet to be solved. So
Any example, any startup that you've met, you really like the guy and you really feel that he's solving something very interesting, which might take time to scale or to build, but a genuine problem hai. And it's okay if not agri space, any other space also that you saw. But I'm sure you work more with agri startups or you advise more of them. So you would have come across that many.
yeah, so I wouldn't name any of them at this moment, but See, most of the founders that I work with have come up with a solution which is more of, let's say, either they are into a drone or they're into a climate, sensing device, or those things. But the challenge for them is uh, go to market. Is very tough for them. So that's what Hesa is actually solving for them. But having said that, there are 4 or 5 ideas or startups that they're working on, which have genuinely I felt that they are good, and in fact I've I advise them, and also whatever little amount I can put, I've invested in them. So
Hmm. Got it. Got it. All right. Tell me, this is one question that I like to ask all my guests. What is money? What does money mean to you today versus what it meant to you 20 years back, 25 years back, when you were probably just starting out your career out of your village that you had just started out your career?
So, I mean, while money is needed, essential, today what matters to me is the kind of impact that I've created, and I mean, this is just a beginning. I wanted to at least create, impact in directly to at least 5 to 10 lakh people by creating livelihoods for them, and indirectly to like 10-15 crore of people in terms of helping them you know help them live better in terms of getting right products, right price at right time. So that's more important for me. So that's what I realized, like any impact that you want to create has to be massive, and at a scale. And that too, whatever I've created at Hesa, rarely you will find something which is both have a social meaning as well as
Commercial.
commerciality into it.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that's what
And back
makes
then, what was money to you?
money is like, okay, like
Back
you
then, 25 years back.
25 years back, like like any normal middle class guy, like you want to build a good house, you want to get good cars, you know good watches, and all this stuff. Like, I mean, like, probably I've lost those taste for
Aspirations.
fancy items. Like today I don't wear a watch, I don't wear anything gold or something like that. So back then
Which
in
a
my
normal Hyderabadi would be wearing.
back then in my college days, you won't believe, I used to have like I mean 100 rupees, 200 rupees only, but I used to have 15 watches, 15 belts, 10, 15
The
shoes,
dude,
all
dude of the
yeah, all
class.
low cost items. But the idea is like the watch which you are wearing today should be worn only on a 16th day or 17th day, so that
Ah.
people think that you have various watches like that, and like how stupid it was. But okay, I mean, like, you have to go through all these
All
things,
that
then
phase. Yeah,
only,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. So we'll move to the final leg of it, which is the rapid fire round, right? So be rapid, be quick. Okay. First question. If someone gives you 100 crores to buy Hesa and also tells you not to compete in this space, would you take and leave this company? No. As on today, immediately. If some.
No, I am very sure that at one day, Hesa value would be at least like 5-6 billion.
Hmm.
That's what it is, and more
So
than,
when
again,
someone
the
gives you that, you can
more
leave it.
than money. So again, see, again, if it's a hypothetical question, but if somebody, answer is no, and I want to build it, myself.
Till 5 billion at
Yeah,
least.
yeah,
Then 5 billion we can
yeah.
recircle back on this question. Okay. Second question. Which sector do you feel is most difficult to operate other than agri or other than rural commerce that you are of course doing it?
Logistics,
Very, very difficult, right?
very,
Again, operationally
very
heavy, supply chain
operationally based,
heavy,
and
manpower heavy.
again, I see that other than agri, I would see that logistics is one sector which is going to boom uh,
Which has
in
already
future.
started
Yeah,
also
it has
because of
started.
e-commerce and stuff like
Yes,
that.
yes. Yeah.
Too many investments in logistics sector already made. I think now
I'm again
logistics.
talking about rural logistics. Huh? That's still
Again,
unsolved
rural
a problem.
logistics.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because there are startups which are doing drone logistics.
Yeah.
So who are going to deliver what we are getting from Amazon. The guy coming. So now drone is going to deliver.
Yes.
So that sector is also now coming up pretty nicely.
Yes, yes. Logistics, when I mean not only materials for human logistics or material logistics, I think intra-city, intra-village,
Interesting.
so I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
there is a lot to be solved there.
Okay. Third one, which probably your investors and everyone, I think they would like it. One VC you would love to have invest in Hesa.
So, Axel,
Axel. All right. I hope they listen to this. Okay, we'll try to send this clip to them. All right. So this was a rapid fire. Let's move to the last question, which is a little, I would want to end this conversation with this question: is, as a common man, right? What can we all do to help the farmer community or the rural community, grow, to experience something better than what they are already doing right now, or to have a better standard of life or something.
good that you are going to end this session with this question. That is always one thing which used to run in my mind other than HESA. And I run a social campaign called My Father is a Farmer, other than HESA. So the idea is like two, three generations back, we are all from farming community because India is like, from farming background. But we moved into, various fields like, but still our roots are farming. So the idea of My Father is a Farmer is how can we give back to the, farmer society or community. So today we have around 400, people part of this, network who are directly or indirectly helping farmers, either they adopt a farmer or they few of them actually directly came into farming. And we run a yearly once a campaign called Back to Farming, like it's a walk, back to farming walk, which we do in Hyderabad. So I think what we can do as a citizen to help farmers is, you don't need to get into farming, but if some way you can actually be connected, either in terms of adopting a farmer, or it's not adopting means like free adoption, like you let's lend a farmer certain amount, and see the journey of the farmer, like how somebody today lend to a student, and get a
So this
satisfaction
is
that
like
okay,
not
you
a
are
loan,
helping.
but you are just adopting and making sure that his,
Yeah,
well-being is being taken care of.
exactly. So I think
Okay.
that is one thing as a common man we can do back.
And
And
this is what you can start with. How much rupees if someone wants to adopt a farm?
anything, like there is nothing like, maybe like 5-10,000 rupees, because for a season, typically 1-2 acre guy farmer would need 4-5 thousand to begin with, as other than his time, he needs this 4-5 thousand rupees, because which goes into preparing the land, then seeds, fertilizers, and tilling and all this stuff. Yeah.
Hmm. No, that's really nice. I didn't know about this. In my research, I think it did not come up, but very nice that you brought this up. I think I would definitely encourage everyone who's going to watch this episode. Do We'll put this link. Do share the link. I think we'll put this link in the caption below, and go through this link. And if you are someone who would want to give back to the people who feed us, do probably adopt a farmer, or do help them via this community.
Yeah. So there are, other than, I mean, I think the best satisfaction for them would be identifying, a farmer in their own vicinity or a circle. Because I'm sure either their maid or their security guard has some farmer connections, and try to lend them so that, they get to get the first hand satisfaction, while they are happy to put it in back to farming. But that's what I would suggest, because they get that first hand satisfaction by doing that. And there are organizations like Rangde, and there are many who are like give small
Rangde
loans
is
to the
also a
farmers.
startup
Yes,
which
yes,
is
yeah,
done by by a
yes.
couple actually. Yeah,
I'm
into
not
agri.
sure, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
by a couple. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think they were on Shark Tank. I'm not too sure, but yeah, the husband is very active on LinkedIn. So
yeah,
I think, yeah, he posts about this agri
yes.
loans to.
Loans to, yeah, farmers.
Yeah, got it. All right. Uh, I think wonderful conversation, Vamsi. It was a pleasure having you on the show. And as I said in the start of this show, right, wanted to learn about agriculture, about farmers, about the rural economy or rural commerce. That is something that I could achieve in this conversation. I'll take back a lot of learnings about what it is or what it feels to work in this community, in this ecosystem, and to build such a large community, such a large scale of business in this agri or rural economy or rural commerce. Wonderful to have this, and yeah, thank you, thanks a lot,
Thanks.
Vamshi,
Pleasure is
for
mine, and
thank you,
yeah, thanks.
thank you.